What if I told you you could choose where the fat came off of your body? In this video, I will discuss the exact science-based method to choose where the fat comes off from, how this is possible, and why it's not widely known. I'm sure you've heard before, it is not possible to spot reduce fat. So that pooch that you might have on your belly, that's not going anywhere. What if I told you that's not true? Now, up until 2017, that was true in the science. The reason being, up until that point, what most studies did, they had participants train one limb of their body, so for instance, their arm or their leg, and not the other one. And then they would look at both limbs to see if there was more fat reduction from the limb that had been trained. They found no difference in fat, and so they concluded that you could not spot reduce fat, but they may have been wrong. To understand why, we've got to understand how fat burns. Your body is constantly both burning and storing fat at the same time. If you are ingesting more calories than you are expending, then although your body is both burning and storing fat, it happens to be storing more fat than it is burning. Think of your fat tissue as a bank account. If you deposit more money in your bank account than you spend, then your bank account is going to get fatter. This is awesome news for our bank accounts, but generally not what we want with our bodies. In order to burn fat, fat is broken down into something called triglycerides, and then it can be mobilized into our bloodstream. From there, it goes to the different cells of our body that need it for energy, for instance, our muscles. When fat is utilized or burned, the byproducts are carbon dioxide, which we breathe out, water, which we excrete, and then energy, which is used. This process of fat burning is constantly happening. But if you don't need that energy, for instance, if you are in a caloric surplus, then that fat goes back into your fat tissue and is restored. Getting back to where the science may have gotten it wrong, if we dig into those papers, most of the participants didn't lose very much weight. What this could suggest is although they were mobilizing fat from a specific area of their body, they weren't in enough of a caloric deficit to utilize it, and so then it was just stored back up. What happens if we do put someone in a caloric deficit? Well, a group in 2017 asked the same question. They divided participants into two groups. One group resistance trained their upper body, while the second group resistance trained their lower body. Both groups also did cardio to ensure they were in a caloric deficit. Both groups lost about the same amount of weight, but what was surprising is the group that trained their upper body lost more fat from their upper body, significantly more. The same was true for the lower body group. They lost more fat from their lower body. But that's only one study. Actually, in 2023, another group was able to show the same thing from stomach fat. They divided participants into two groups. The control group just did cardio. The other group did two types of resistance training for their abs, the crunch machine and the torso machine. The scientists also wanted to make sure that both groups were expending or burning the same number of calories in the exercise. So the group that was doing abdominal resistance training added some cardio as well to make sure that they were burning equal amount of calories as the cardio group. What this study showed was, again, both groups lost about the same amount of fat and weight, but the group doing abdominal resistance training lost significantly more fat from their torsos than the control group. The authors hypothesized that there was an increase of blood flow to that area, which has been shown when we contract a muscle, there is an increase of blood flow to that muscle and area. That increased blood flow helped mobilize more fat from that area, leading to spot reduction. That's just 2 studies, and they're fairly recent, but it does suggest that maybe there's something that we can do. So exactly how should we go about applying this? No matter where you are choosing to lose fat from, you have to make sure you are in a caloric deficit. Try 300 to 500 calories, less than what you are currently eating now. To ensure you're actually in a caloric deficit, the scale is king. You want to make sure you're losing between 0.5 pounds to 1 pound a week off of the scale on average. Secondly, you want to make sure that you start training the muscles around the area in which you want to lose fat from. If that's your arms, train your arms. If that's your stomach, start training your abs. You want to train them at least 3 to 4 times a week. Here's how you can adapt the exact protocol used in the abs study, but you can use this for any body part. Firstly, in that study, they had participants do those 27 minutes of cardio. But if you're already in a caloric deficit, you can cut that out. Starting with the torso machine, if you have access to a gym, you're going to do 4 minutes rotating to one side. You're going to use 40% of your 1 repetition max, and you're going to try to get 20 repetitions per minute in that 4 minutes. At the end of that first 4 minutes, switch and start twisting to the other side. Repeat this 4 times. This will get you to 32 minutes in this workout. You will then go to the crunch machine. Again, you're going for 4 minutes, but this time you're trying to get 40 repetitions using 40% of your 1 rep max for every minute. In the study, they had participants take an active rest by reducing the weight to their 20% repetition max and going for 3 minutes before going back to 40% and another 4 minutes. I recommend just taking a 1-minute full break before going into your next 4-minute bout. You're going to repeat this 4 times as well. If you don't have access to a gym, no problem. You can use a standard crunch. What I want you to think about is creating a C-shaped spine, completely flexing your abs as high as you can, and then making sure to fully extend so you're getting the full range of motion. If you'd like, you can hold weights close to your head to add resistance. For your torso, you can try the Russian twist. One cue you can use is try to look behind you. What this will do is it'll ensure that you are fully twisting your torso through a full range of motion. There might be a few things that we can try to hedge our bets for even faster and better results. Firstly, what you can try doing is adding a sweat waist trainer. There's also these types of trainers, sweat trainers for different parts of your body. Now, this is not to cinch your waist, and it's not because it's going to make you sweat more, but because it covers that area and helps keep it warmer, thereby increasing blood flow to that area. The second thing you can try is foam rolling the area from which you want the fat to come off of. Studies have shown that foam rolling also increases blood flow to specific areas of your body. Okay, who is this for and who is this not for? If you've already been resistance training and you're finding it really difficult to get fat off of this last part of your body, then this is definitely for you. Or let's say you are just starting on your journey, but you want to get the best results you can in as quickly as you can, and you have a lot of time to dedicate to this. This is something that you can incorporate into your program. But if you're someone who does not have a lot of time and just wants to lose fat from anywhere in their body, this is probably not the protocol for you. Remember, being in a caloric deficit is king. It gets you 90% of the way there. But if you want to squeeze out that last 5 to 10% of your best results, getting rid of fat from a specific area, then definitely give this one a try. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you tried it, and how your results are going.